The London Olympics were a huge success, of course, and a huge boost for all of the sports involved. But spare a thought for those that missed out. For instance, baseball and softball were dropped, but a possibly unexpected person is pushing for them to be reinstated in the 2020 Games, with an IOC decision day looming. It's Fidel Castro's son, and he was in London this week, as Emma Jones reports.
You might think it would be quite unusual for the son of a former communist leader to take a tour of London's Olympic Park, but Antonio Castro, the son of Fidel, has been here before. In fact, he was the chief medical officer for the Cuban Olympic team last summer and can remember how odd it felt that the country's baseball team wasn't part of that squad.
I feel very bad, not only me, all the team, all the players, all the people in Cuba. We dream for work here in this country in Olympic 2012 Olympic Games with the Cuban national team. I tell everybody, I remember these Olympic Games like the most wonderful Olympic Games can I been. When the athletes and the people who work in the Cuban delegation stay in the competition, they feel bad because they miss it, the Cuban baseball players.
Well, Antonio was back in the capital this week in his role as the vice president of the World Baseball and Softball Confederation, explaining his campaign to get the sports back into the Games in 2020. Both were last part of the Olympics in Beijing in 2008, but knew that could potentially be their last Games, because just 2 days after London learnt they'd won the 2012 bid, both sports learnt they'd been dropped. Stephan Pearce from Tolworth is part of the British women's softball team. And when I caught up with her in view of the Olympic Stadium in Stratford, she remembered the mixture of emotions she felt in just a few days all those years ago.
On the day we were doing an athletic event, and I remember they announced the 2012 Olympics was going to be in London, and then I heard 2 days later about that, and it was really heartbreaking, because I had in my head that my dream could come true, I could compete, and then I found out that it was taking out, and yeah.
It's rather cruel in that case that we're standing looking out over the Olympic Park. It was an amazing summer for so many sports, and I think for a lot of British sports that may be very lucky to be part of those games. What difference do you think it might have made to baseball and softball in this country and worldwide if it continued being an Olympic sport in 2012?
I think it would have helped it develop a lot worldwide, because obviously the amount of countries that were here in London in one time period, it was like phenomenal. And I think just seeing the sport and seeing what it actually is, and it would promote the younger kids to get involved. Because if you mention the word softball, they might not know what it is, but seeing it being played and how different it is to other sports, it would really encourage those kids to get involved. And I think that's where it needs to start developing, is in the grassroots.
But having missed out on the opportunities that London might have brought to the sport, it's now hoped that a joint bid to reinstate both baseball and softball for 2020 will be successful. 7 other sports will also be presenting their case at an IOC meeting in Russia on Wednesday, including roller sports, sports climbing and squash. But how big a blow would it be for baseball and softball going forward if they miss out? Sam Dempster is the head coach of the British men's baseball team.
One of the things about baseball teaches you that no matter how good you are as a batsman, you're going to fail 7 times out of 10. It doesn't matter. You can be the best in the world and still going to fail 7 times out of 10. So just because it doesn't get included again doesn't mean you quit and give up. Baseball teaches you that you continue to battle every single day, and that's the beauty of this game. At the professional level even, you play every single day. You don't play Friday and then play again the next Friday. You play Friday, you play Saturday, you play Sunday, you play Monday, you play Tuesday, and you got to go out and do it every single day, just like getting up and going to work.
And if this campaign was successful, I know this is a difficult thing for you to assess, but would we be good enough? Would the British teams be good enough to qualify for 2020?
Well, put it this way, with the team that we had at the World Baseball Classic, we were playing Canada in the first game. And after 6 innings, I believe it was 2-1 for Canada. They were using their best players. We were using our best players. So they weren't necessarily domestic players, but they are passport-holding citizens who happened to be living in other countries, and we were right there with them. So, and beautiful thing about baseball, anything can happen on any given day. It just goes to show you that you just got to go play every day. And if it gets in the Olympics, I'm sure that the sport will go. All of a sudden, hey, I got a chance to go to the Olympics. I'm not going to the Premier League. Maybe I need to change sports. And I can think of a guy that's in the Hall of Fame. His name is Larry Walker. He was determined he was going to be a National Hockey League goaltender. He couldn't make it. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame now. So you just never know. Good athletes, sometimes not very good at one sport, all of a sudden excel at another sport. So you just hope and pray that they bring us back in, and so many more British kids get a chance to compete at the Olympic level. It'd be awesome.
Some of the criteria considered by the IOC as they make their decision will include how popular the sports are worldwide, how widely they're played across the major continents, and also issues like anti-doping. Well, Antonio Castro says he's confident his sports have dealt with any of the problems that might have hindered their chances in the past, and he remains confident they will be back inside the Games in 7 years' time.
For me, the most important is staying in the Olympic movement. The reason is if you want to develop the real your sport, you need to stay inside the program in the most big sport party. It's like the Olympic Games. If you don't stay inside the Olympic Games, how the people, the young people, the boys and the girls, they can see in the television, they can see in the Olympic Games the sport that he loves or that she loves. And if you stay inside, maybe in the future, a lot of people dream to stay again inside. And for us, for develop and for real convert the global sport, baseball and softball, global sport, we need to stay inside the big party, the big sport party.